Yeah, I mean, talking about confidence, we are honestly some bunch of pussies, so we picked Parivision more or less, right? Not big or bounty. Actually, a bit surprised that they're still left here.
To start off the season, we have Blast Bounty, which has started the previous 2 seasons in the Counter-Strike calendar. Online tournament, 32 teams. Beats a lower pressure than you'd have in the upcoming tournaments like Krakow. This is a pretty gentle way for different teams to start off the season, and honestly that's what I like about Blast Bounty. No big pressure, just getting to see a lot of different teams, especially the underdogs have a lot to show here. Them making it to the LAN portion, which is the top 8 teams, would be big. So in this video we'll take a look at the favorites, we'll take a look at a few possible upsets that could happen, and we have a few new teams that we're also gonna get a little taste of. Now, the previous Blast Bounty back in August was interesting, or maybe the opposite of interesting, since in the first round, in the round of 32, we literally saw no upsets at all. None. All the higher ranked teams got their wins in the first round. And what that tells us is that maybe the online aspect doesn't affect these teams quite as much as maybe sometimes we tend to think. These teams, they're professional, they know what it takes, and yeah, it's not a new thing anymore to play some online Counter-Strike. And we've got most of the big boys here. Really the only higher ranked teams that aren't attending are Mouse, G2, and the Mongols. Except for that, you have all the known culprits, and you got Vitality, Furia, Falcons, the top 3 teams probably coming into this season, followed by Spirit and Navi and Aurora, and then a bunch of other teams too. And that's what I like about Blast Bounty. We're gonna get to see a lot of different teams. And on the first round, I've picked 3 possible upsets to happen. The first is a Bet Boom versus Pain. Now, Pain has made a couple of player changes. They brought in Piri AGR and VSM. So they're gonna get back to a full Brazilian lineup. You got Biguzera here, you got NQZ, who are sure and tested players on the tier 1 level, but other than that, I don't really know what to expect yet. I guess this guy, this Piri AGR, needs to frag for them, needs to be a good player. But on the Bet Boom side, I think they've been trending upwards, and their Valve ranking 27 might be a little bit too low. For my liking, I think they could be in easily, well, maybe not easily, but they could get to top 20 rank status, and they're not that far from Pain, I feel like. You got Boomich, a very experienced in-game leader, and quite a lot of firepower too. I think this is a possible upset. Another one is NIP versus Liquid, and maybe this is just on the theory side an upset because it's pretty much a 50-50 coming into it, but Liquid is still quite a bit higher ranked. NIP coming in with a new player in Karn, or Cairn, however you pronounce it, from Inner Circle, bringing in potentially more firepower, and maybe we can take the potentially out of it because E-Jerks just couldn't fill his shoes on this NIP lineup. Now, Snappy tweeted that took some time, but I look forward to sharing the server with Mr. Mush. So this move took maybe longer than NIP would have liked it to. I take that they haven't had quite as much practice as they probably would have wanted to have, but still, I'm pretty confident that NIP will hit the ground running coming into this 2026 season, while Liquid also, I mean, they have even more pressure than NIP to succeed and just to show us something, because last season was pretty bad from Liquid. Yeah, I'm taking NIP for the upset here. And our last upset is ENCE beating Parivision. Hopium, copium. ENCE was seeded 28th, and what's interesting about Blast Bounty is that the underdogs get to choose their opponents. I think ENCE was pretty lucky in that Parivision was still available to be picked. ENCE's other options, if I recall, were Furia, Navi, Spirit, like all the best possible teams. So the fact that they got away with picking Parivision is pretty nice. This pick was funny. Let's hear what NKG had to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about confidence, we are honestly some bunch of pussies, so we picked Parivision more or less, right? Not big or bounty. Actually a bit surprised that they're still left here.
we're big pussies. We're just gonna pick the possibly easiest opponent. Parivision turned some heads in the previous major in Budapest, but just in terms of this matchup, ENCE made a couple of roster changes. I think they're not that far from Parivision. The tier 2 scene is just very, very competitive, and ENCE could have been one of those teams who eked out the major spot last season. Not saying that they would have deserved it, but they could have done it. And Parivision's last season, the fall season, wasn't that much better, honestly, than ENCE's. And ENCE's two new players. They're bringing in Fiku, they're bringing in Krasnal, replacing Multi and Rigon. And just on paper, they're gaining quite a bit of just raw firepower, just more true and tested players. Multi was an ENCE Academy player that they brought in. They gave him a shot for a season. He played off positions. He didn't play his usual positions, and that made it hard for him. And as for Rigon, I thought his fall season was pretty terrible, and I honestly thought that he cost ENCE quite a few matches, quite a few tournaments, quite a few games. So just bringing up that Rigon's role to, I mean, even 10%. If Fiku can be 10% better than his counterpart in Rigon, I think that will be quite good for ENCE, and Krasnal quite certainly will be better than Multi in this part of his career, and that's surrounded by the core of Samda, Young, Nate, and Podi, which I think they all, in their positions, respective positions, are top 20 players. Samda Young is an in-game leader. Is that a hot take? Could be. Nate as a hard anchor, as a small side anchor, he's great, and Podi as an AWPer. I mean, just statistically, if you take a look at his last season, I think it's not that crazy of a take to say that Podi is a top 20 player. So, all that summed up, I'm taking ENCE to win this. Parivision upgraded from, was it AW to Zway? On paper, a pretty good upgrade, and there's a good reason why Parivision is the favorite here, but I think an upset could happen in this matchup. So, that's my last pick for the upsets. And other storylines that I'll be interested to look at here. The top row, not very interesting for me because they didn't make any changes. So that's whatever. Na'Vi also. I mean, it's nice to see these teams back on the server, but Spirit is maybe the most fascinating team to see play with this new look lineup with Magic's in-game leading. I hope to see them also hit the ground running. They're bringing back Zontics, bringing back Magic's. Just some raw firepower upgrades there. We also saw Aurora make a roster change, swapping out Yota for Soulfly. Now, just feat-wise, not sure I love this. Soulfly and Xantares last season, they were both very aggressive players. I took a look at their stats, and both of them take over 30% opening duel attempts on the T side, so something's gonna give. One of those players is gonna have to step back. Wikadia also likes to be aggressive from time to time, so I don't know. I think Aurora has quite a bit of stuff to figure out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe fall out of the top 10. We'll see about that. And also, Astralis is going international. This is one to watch. How will Hooksy handle changing the language to English back again? I mean, he's done it before. That shouldn't be a big obstacle. I like Fizzy as an AWPer. I think he's going to fit right in. Might be even better than Device at this moment. You're also bringing in Ryu. Astralis is a funny lineup right now, because you look at their players, each player, I find myself being like, okay, that's a good player. That's a solid player right there. But then when you mash it together, is it a tier 2 team, to be honest? Is that an EU tier 2 mix that we're looking at? The more I think about it, I think it might be. I think it might be, and Astralis could maybe take a step back in the upcoming season. We will have to see about that. And OG, they made their changes a while ago. I feel like I almost forgot this after the Christmas break. Oh, damn, KDM plays for OG now. That's right. I suppose he does. And the first few events they played, it's not looking perfect, but it has, to be honest, been only like 4 games in HLTV, so not a bad lineup on paper. You got Spook, you got Flamus, some aggressive rifles, you got some experience in arrows, those, but I'm not setting my expectations too high for OG, as they're taking on, well, I guess the first matchup isn't too bad for them. They're playing Foot, but it's gonna get harder from there. Well, that's it for me. A brief overview of Blast Bounty. That's gonna start off this season. Should be good. Getting to see a lot of teams, and I hope we're gonna see at least some upsets when we start this season off. This is Robo from 1v9, and I'll see you guys in the next one.